Et il vient de nous rejoindre ou pas?
Oui, oui.
Je ne sais pas s'ils sont sujets dedans, mais on va bricoler.
Oui, ce sera en tout cas une discussion.
Ok.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to first say a huge thank you for all of you. I know it's the end of the day almost. We are all tired. We are aware of it. But my name is Dilara Spencer. I'm the president of Workplace Wellbeing Cabo Verde. And first of all, before I move ahead with the welcoming speech, I would like you to listen carefully, in this case to read carefully in English, our First Lady of the Republic of Cabo Verde, Débora Catiza Carvalho.
É com enorme satisfação que felicito o Workplace Wellbeing Cabo Verde pela sua participação pela primeira vez no TROPIC Summit, representando Cabo Verde num dos grandes palcos africanos dedicados à inovação, à liderança, ao investimento e ao impacto social. Esta presença honra o nosso país e reforça o compromisso nacional com práticas modernas e humanas de desenvolvimento e transformação social. Quero igualmente congratular o TROPIC Summit por mais uma edição deste respeitado evento pan-africano que continua a reunir empresários, decisores políticos, líderes comunitários, empreendedores e inovadores de todo o continente, promovendo colaborações estratégicas entre os diferentes espaços linguísticos africanos. Aceitei com honra o convite para partilhar uma reflexão sobre o tema o bem-estar e a saúde mental como pilares de uma sociedade solidária e consciente, uma temática muito atual e essencial para o desenvolvimento humano e social. Hoje compreendemos cada vez melhor que não existe progresso verdadeiro sem pessoas emocionalmente saudáveis e socialmente amparadas. O bem-estar e a saúde mental deixaram de ser percepcionados como assuntos individuais e passaram a ser reconhecidos como responsabilidades coletivas, fatores estruturantes de uma sociedade que se quer mais empática, mais inclusiva e mais justa. Falar de bem-estar e saúde mental é falar de ambientes familiares que acolhem e educam com responsabilidade emocional, escolas que ensinam não apenas conteúdos, mas também a empatia, respeito e equilíbrio. Locais de trabalho que protegem, valorizam e promovem o desenvolvimento humano. Comunidades que não deixam ninguém para trás. Políticas públicas que tratam a saúde mental como prioridade e direito básico. Uma sociedade solidária e consciente é aquela que reconhece que cada pessoa importa. É aquela onde o sofrimento emocional não é ignorado, onde a vulnerabilidade não é motivo de vergonha e onde pedir ajuda é visto como um ato de coragem. Em Cabo Verde, temos dado alguns passos importantes nesta agenda, mas sabemos que o caminho é contínuo e exige o envolvimento de todos, famílias, escolas, empresas, instituições públicas, organizações da sociedade civil e cada cidadão. Quando cuidamos da saúde emocional das nossas comunidades, reforçamos a coesão social, reduzimos a violência, fortalecemos a produtividade e construímos fundamentos sólidos para uma paz que se quer duradoura. Por isso, iniciativas como o Workplace Wellbeing Cabo Verde são tão relevantes. Elas contribuem para elevar a consciência coletiva, formar líderes mais sensíveis e inspirar a implementação de práticas que valorizam o ser humano na sua totalidade. Desejo que esta participação no TROPIC Summit abra novas oportunidades e que multiplique o impacto positivo do vosso trabalho em Cabo Verde e em todo o continente africano. Muito obrigada.
A huge round of applause to our First Lady.
É com enorme satisfação.
Good afternoon. Your Excellencies, distinguished leaders, esteemed guests, partners, friends, all protocol observed. Standing here today, invited by TROPIC Summit, carries a special meaning for me. This is more than a participation in a high-level event. It is the recognition that well-being, leadership, and human development are becoming strategic priorities across Africa. And it is an honor to bring the voice of Cabo Verde to this continental conversation. When I created Workplace Wellbeing Cabo Verde, it was not born from theory or convenience. It came from lived experience, from seeing firsthand how toxic environments, outdated leadership models, and emotional exhaustion quietly shape people's lives. It came from listening to professionals who shine on the outside but struggle on the inside. And it came from a simple but powerful truth. People cannot perform at their best when they are breaking on the inside. Cabo Verde is a nation full of talent, ambition, and resilience. But like many other parts of Africa, we still carry old workplace habits. Leadership built on fear instead of empathy, pressure mistaken for performance, silence misunderstood as strength. And while these patterns may have belonged to the past, they are not compatible with the future of work we want to build. As a CEO, I must say this clearly. Well-being is not softness, it's strategy. It is governance. It is economic intelligence. It is the foundation of competitiveness. Organizations that care about their people do not only create happier employees, they create stronger results, better retention, higher innovation, and long-term sustainability. Because healthy workplaces build healthy nations. But I also speak today as a human being, as a woman, as a mother, and as someone who has seen brilliant people collapse under the weight of environments that were never designed for them to thrive. I have seen tears behind office doors. I have heard stories of burnout spoken only in whispers. I have watched extraordinary individuals lose confidence, lose purpose, and sometimes lose themselves. This is why Workplace Wellbeing Cabo Verde exists. And I say it again, not as a trend, not as a decorative initiative, but as a movement. A movement that demands a new level of responsibility, vision, and humanity from everyone involved in the world of work. And today, the tropics...
Workplace Wellbeing Cabo Verde, pela sua...
That's okay. And today, at the Tropic Summit, we stand proudly to say that Cabo Verde is ready to lead. We may be a small nation, but we are bold in our ambition. We are clear in our purpose, and we understand that the real transformation of a country begins in the transformation of its people. Africa is rising, as we all know, economically, socially, technologically, as we've mentioned throughout these 2 days. But for Africa to rise sustainably, emotionally, and collectively, we must invest in the human experience. We must build workplaces where people feel valued, respected, inspired, and most importantly, safe. Workplaces where leadership listens, culture empowers, and well-being is part of the organizational DNA. This is the future we are building in Cabo Verde. This is the message we bring to this summit. And this is the invitation I want to extend to all of you here today. Imagine an Africa where people wake up with enthusiasm for their work. Imagine workplaces where dignity is non-negotiable. Imagine leaders who understand people, not just numbers. Imagine a generation that does not have to heal from the places where they worked. This is not idealism, this is possibility. This is strategy, and this is the new frontier of African development. And now, a message to African leaders, and we can say this room is full of us, right? We often speak about GDP. We've heard about it even today. National budgets, infrastructure, foreign investment, and microeconomic growth. But numbers do not tell the whole story. And no one expressed this truth more beautifully than Robert Kennedy in 1968. For those who don't know, he was one of the candidates for President of the United States. And unfortunately, he was assassinated. And 2 weeks before his assassination, he gave a speech in the University of Kansas, and he said, as I quote, and I would like you to deeply, deeply listen to this, please. For too long, we seemed to have surrendered personal excellence and community values in the mere accumulation of material things. Our gross national product counts air pollution and cigarette advertising, and ambulances to clear our highways of carnage. It counts special locks for our doors and the jails for those who break them. It counts the destruction of our forests and the loss of our national wonder in chaotic sprawl. It counts napalm and the cost of a nuclear warhead and armed cars for police who fight riots in our streets. It's important to mention that it was around World War II. Yet, the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children, the quality of our education, or the joy of their play. It does not include the beauty of our poetry or the strength of our marriages, the intelligence of our public debate, or the integrity of our public officials. It measures neither our wit nor our courage. neither our wisdom, neither our learning, neither our compassion, nor our devotion to our country. It measures everything, in short, except what which makes life worthwhile. As we explore sustainable investment and inclusive prosperity, I ask each leader here today to carry this message back to your ministries, your organizations, and your countries. Invest in people, invest in well-being, invest in those who care for us all. Because Africa cannot rise on numbers alone. Africa will rise because her people rise. So thank you very much. I will be making, and I promise you I won't take too long. We try to go a bit faster, just to give you an idea of the work that we've been doing in Cabo Verde in regards to workplace wellbeing Cabo Verde. It is a platform where we receive national and international speakers from different sectors, different countries, and we focus on sharing the best practices when it comes to well-being. We know nowadays well-being is seen as nice to have, only perks, right? One activity here, resilience training, financial education training, sushi at your desk, right? But it is important to address it strategically. It is important to tackle it, to prevent instead of wait until we cannot prevent it. We have to react, right? And the organizations, regardless if it's public, if it's private, if it's an NGO, we need to address this collectively, strategically. So if you don't mind, please. Just a second. Please bear with me just a second. I promise it won't take too long. And just to again, I'll make sure I don't jump any important information, but I'll try to keep it quick. So basically this presentation is about workplace well-being, a global challenge, but with African realities. Next, please. You can move to the next slide. So basically, this is the reality we hold right now. This is the global state of the mental health. World Health Organization conducted a study, and as you can see, mental health challenges have become one of the most significant health issues in time. After COVID, there was an increase of around 30% in the whole world in regards to mental health problems. 41% of workers worldwide reporting high daily stress, and 15% working age adults living with mental health disorders. Organizations across all factors are facing a growing well-being crisis. So this is a global crisis. This is not a nice to talk about because it's a trend, as many people are saying nowadays. This is urgent. Us as individuals, us as leaders, us as country representatives, we have a social responsibility, and we need to tackle it now. Next, please. This is the impact that mental health and well-being have, especially mental health has in people in a workplace. Chronic stress. Who never had a person they know? I won't even say each one of you, right? Because it doesn't have to be us, but I'm pretty sure every one of you knows someone close enough who goes through chronic stress or burnout or any type of mental health problem, and in many cases we don't talk about it, right? And it leads to less motivation in a workplace. People don't want to go to work when they are stressed, when you are in burnout. What type of motivation do you want to go to work? And especially when the work environment is toxic. Especially when you know you are leaving your safe space, your home, your family, your kids, to go help someone build a business, and you are not respected, you are not valued, you are carrying a weight of your personal life, and unfortunately the organizations are ignoring it. They want people to separate personal from professional life. Nowadays it is impossible. It is impossible, it cannot be made. And obviously stress is both human cost and a business cost. Next slide, please. Worldwide, 12 billion days are lost per year because of depression, anxiety at work. 12 billion per year. And the productivity has a loss of around $1 trillion per year. If we talk about numbers, there are numbers to show, but sometimes we are not aware of it, but it's happening and it's current. Next, please. And this is the reality in Africa. 150 million people across Africa are affected by poor mental health and are scared to talk about it because stigma is still a huge issue. No one is scared to talk about the broken leg, to talk about the high fever, to talk about the headache. But we are scared to talk about our mental health because we are still judged. Because unfortunately, a poor mental health, which can happen to any one of us, is wrongly linked to low capability, which is, to be honest, insane. And I still cannot believe that in 2025, we still have this stigma that we have to work against. Sub-Saharan African faces some of the highest workplace stress levels globally. 1 in every 2 workers reporting intense daily stress. Half of our working people. And despite the growing awareness, because we know the awareness has been grown throughout the years, especially after COVID, when it was really accentuated the need for us to address it, the treatment gap and the pressure of the workforce remain significant. And this is the African reality. Almost 50% in Sub-Saharan Africa report poor mental health. Almost 50% again in Middle East and Northern Africa. And globally, it's over 40%. And this is the reality in South Africa. It reflects a broader trend, but with even more alarming indicators. We are talking about 25% of South Africans are probably distressed. And workplace stress affects the majority of employees. We are talking about 25%. The numbers are insane. And suicide rates, especially among the men, I would like to highlight this. And ladies, let me ask you something. If you are fighting because we want to be empowered, because we know we want to sit on the table, because we know we want to do the work that we need and we are capable of doing, let's not forget these numbers. Our men are dying. Our men are dying. Us as women, us as leaders, us as countries, we need to look after this as well. And again, the combination of economic pressure, high workloads, inequality, and limited mental health resources creates a challenging environment for both individuals and organizations. Next, please. And in regards to workplace wellbeing Cabo Verde, when I created this plan, I had just lost 2 very close friends of mine to suicide. And let me share something with you. I might get emotional. But one of the friends I lost while I was working on this presentation, I received a notification from Facebook saying it was his birthday today. So this is more than just a work. This is purpose, this is mission. So yes, we continue with it. This is our president last year in our, doing the openings, the official openings in our 2nd edition. I will read roughly what he mentioned. He said, first and foremost, as President of the Republic of Cabo Verde, I wish to express my great satisfaction with the holding of this important event as we prepare to celebrate 50 years of independence. We can acknowledge that throughout these 5 decades, we have fulfilled our mission reasonably well. Yet half a century on, it is time to embrace a vision driven by innovation. Innovation that signifies the introduction of meaningful and positive change. The organizational culture in Cabo Verde is inherited from a colonial period and is excessively jurisdicized. We still address people, we still address HR in a very administrative way. It's very administrative. We need to look towards the HR department the same way that we do, for example, a strategy for marketing. Who doesn't? Which company doesn't do a marketing strategy? Who doesn't do a sales strategy? So if we say that our people are the most important asset in our organization, why don't we address our people strategically as well? Why does it still have to be just administrative, paying salaries, checking who came to work, what time did you come to work, what time do you leave? That's not how we correctly address and manage our people. Next slide, please. This was the Minister of Family, Inclusion and Social Development doing the closing during the 2nd edition as well. And he says, initiatives like this complement government's efforts by promoting practices that value workers' happiness and health, essential pillars for the development of a just and inclusive society. Creating a healthy work environment should consider not only physical safety, but also the psychological well-being of all professionals. It's important to say that we cannot just address our people based on the physical needs to keep them safe, but the psychological safety is really important, and every day that passes by is getting more and more and more important. We spoke today about the high speed to where the technology is evolving, right? We are human beings. We are forced to cope with the speed. We spoke about the need right now to get stability for our employees when it comes to the job, right? There is a high turnover right now in many companies. So employment stability is also a huge problem, a huge concern, And people are getting stressed and more stressed because of it. Next, please. Just a few pictures from our previous edition. We have our First Lady who conducted the openings from the first edition. We have the National Director of Health in Cabo Verde as well. Next, please. We have the Secretary of State for Digital Economy, because we address as well the technology and its influences, but also we cannot talk about technology just as being a negative factor. It is a positive factor as well. And we have to be able to provide to our employees ways to cope with the evolution, how to use the technology as a tool to progress and to increase productivity, and even to control and help you deal with your mental health. Next, please. Some partners as well. Next one. Can keep going. You were received by the president. Our team were received by the president, and we were. The second edition was really special. I mean, all of them, but the second edition was particularly special for having the Chief of State with us. Next one, please. Next one. I'm trying to keep it flowing. There we have our Abdel Camara. He will join us in a bit. Yes, second edition can keep going. And this, I know that it was, it's spoken in Portuguese, right? So just 2 minutes so we can see how it was this third edition last week. We came straight from Cabo Verde to South Africa. This third edition we spoke about how to take care of those who take care. We spoke about health professionals, nurses, doctors. We spoke about leaders, CEOs, governmental leaders. We spoke about professors, and we spoke about the policy, the national police, I'm sorry. Because it's easy to say, and based on studies, that over 80% of problems in the workplace that leads to poor mental health is caused by bad management. That's a Gallup studies, and the numbers are scary. And that is because we can say people are promoted based on their technical skills, especially to management position. They are promoted based on their technical skills and not on their people skills. The capacity to lead people, to be empathetic, to look at someone in the workplace as a human being instead of just someone who is supposed to deliver a work. But it is important to mention as well how the leaders suffer. If the leaders are supposed to take care of the employees, who is supposed to take care of the leaders? Next one, please. We can go to the next one. We can go to the next one. Strategic approach. We will stay here just for me to conclude, because again, I don't want to take too much time. When we talk about a strategic approach to well-being, we mention about setting a plan. We need a plan. We cannot just react to what happened. We cannot just decide to provide productivity training, as I mentioned, to the employees. And then, who told you that's exactly what they need? How do you measure to know that what you are implementing is really making significant changes within organization? So the first step to do, that's what us as DS Consulting we do. We access your employees. We access your organization. We use metrics to evaluate, to see where we start. We need data. We need to understand where we are. We need subjective measurements. We speak with the employees to understand what they need, because the employees will be the first people to tell you exactly what needs to be done. We set up a plan, we implement a plan, we measure it with the right metrics, and we repeat. This needs to be done constantly, and we cannot wait to see results in the first months, first year, because we need to test, we need to see exactly which area we are going to work on. We need to know the metrics, we need to collect the data, transform it into information, and use the information to make any adjustments needed so we can get the right plan. So I will leave it right here, and I will ask our Vice President Abdel Camara to join us, because one of the dimensions of well-being is the financial well-being, right? Is one of the areas that need more support nowadays, and is one of the basics of what is getting people stressed at work. So he is the Vice President of Workplace Wellbeing Cabo Verde. He is responsible for the financial education when it comes to the financial well-being. And after that, we will have Wendy, who is Master in Human and Organizational Behavior, and she is our well-being advisor. So, my brother, welcome, Abdel Camara.
Thank you very much. So raise your hand if you'd like to see an Africa where your children will grow with prosperity, more education, safe, and even more money than now that we're growing. Yeah? Great, fantastic. And we all here today, we've got leaders, business owners, we've got political side of things, diplomatics. We all some way struggling with something. That's why we're here today to gather and try to raise whatever we're looking to raise. The theme or the subject of this summit this year is about prosperity. How do we do that? How do we become even more prosperous and we become even more rich within our companies, ourselves, our families, and all that? And Africa is very much capable of doing so. However, when you look at statistics and when we look into what people are saying about Africa, they usually say that it's a very poor continent, which doesn't make sense because other continents, they build their richness on the back of our resources. So something really is not quite right here. So maybe we need to look at education system and make a few changes. Because if we want our children to be raised and live in a society where there's more safety, there's more prosperity, then we need to change it now. So I was born in Guinea-Bissau and sent to study in Europe, in Portugal, when I was 11 to attend a military boarding school because my dad is in the army, right? So I grew up there and I graduated as a mechanical engineer. I started working as an engineer and then suddenly I decided that I didn't want to become an engineer anymore because I liked people, I wanted to learn new skills. So then I decided to do something very radical. I was the first person in my family to attend university and to graduate at uni. And I can imagine having to tell my mum and my dad that I don't want to become an engineer anymore. Furthermore, when I graduated, I was a really good student because I was the best student at the university I attended. Now telling them I want to become a salesperson, it doesn't really go with the African parents, you know? So, but that's what I did. But what happened then was that I got fired just short of 2 years being in that business. I got fired. But there's one thing I really learned about that, is that in order for my life to change, I needed to change. In order for me to become somebody else in society, I need to change. And the change I needed to do, more than anything else, is about mindsets. Until we make our shift in mindset, we're going to be the same person we've always been. Throughout these 2 days, we spoke about vision. Actually, it was Nancy that was talking about this. And then it's very important that we have a vision, we have clarity as in where we want to go, what we want to do. And then that led me to start my own companies, my own businesses. And then obviously what I realized is that I didn't understand about money. Nobody ever taught me about money. We see people with degrees, masters, PhDs, but in reality, their understanding about money and the financial side of things is pretty much zero. And the reason being is because obviously nobody teaches us that at school. But that, at the same token, it cannot be the reason why you and I, as adults, we don't learn it. Because now it's down to us. Nobody's going to do that for us. And guess what? There are 3 pillars, very important pillars, if we want to become even more conscious about this. There are 3 pillars, I believe, we all need to understand to make Africa the richest land on earth. And these 3 pillars, they changed the narrative of my life. The number 1 is the mindset shift. Until we believe we can do it, we're not going to do it. Because we still, if you carry on thinking small, we're going to act small. We're going to be telling and giving excuses for everything we do. And we're going to try to blame others. Africa doesn't have to be the new United States. Doesn't have to be the new Europe. Africa has to be Africa. The way we are. And we can build an Africa based on the mindset shift. We need to shift our mentalities. Because the poverty starts here. And if you believe we're poor, we're going to carry on acting as if we are poor. But we are not poor. So that's the number 1 pillar we need to change. The mindset. How do we do that? Well, we need to understand that environment accelerates knowledge and behavior. So we have to be in an environment where definitely our knowledge and environment, and in that environment, knowledge and the behavior are together. So our parents usually say to us, when we're young, I don't want you in that group, I don't want you with that friend, I don't want you to... Why do they say that? Because they know the power of environment. Because they know that if we are in a wrong environment, we'll be influenced by that environment too. The second pillar is the financial side of things. It's financial literacy. Guys, it's very important that we start teaching our children about money. But we cannot teach what we don't understand. We're going to have to understand it first. We're going to have to invest in it. I stand here today as a Vice President of Workplace Wellbeing, and this is one of the key pillars, like Dilara said, is the financial side of things. We need to teach people about money. Money is a tool. We all have to learn how to deal with it until we die. Everyone, from the age of 6, 7, or 8 in Africa, we learn to deal with money. But even though we still have adults that understand nothing about money. So it's time for us to do that. So that's the second pillar. The third pillar is actually business. Because the only way we can make this work and we can make Africa rich again is what Hilton came here to talk about early on. It's got to be through business, entrepreneurship. And in this room, we are full of entrepreneurs. So it's not about a lack of capabilities. Because we know as Africans, we are capable. We're not less. If anything, we're more than any other groups in the world. But yet, we're not performing as well. And why is that? Because obviously, we lack in these 3 pillars I'm saying. The mindset, the financial literacy, and obviously the businesses. They're not going as well as we wanted it. So, if I can leave you with anything today, is start questioning. How can we grow? How can we make Africa a better place for the next generation? Because it's not just about us, it's about our children. I'm a proudly father of 3 girls, and I can tell you that one of the reasons why I do what I do across Africa today, I work with leaders, business owners, helping them how to increase performance through sales and business and leadership. But I can tell you for the fact, coming from a very small country, it doesn't mean we cannot go big. It's not about where we came from, it's about where we are going. And we can all go great places, especially if you go together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my brother. And I would like to call on stage